Welcome, everyone. Oh, I need to turn the brightness up on this phone because I can't see nothing. There we go. Howdy, ladies and gents. For those of you who are hopping on, we are having our February Book of the Month discussion, Such a Fun Age by Kiley Reid. So much to say about this book, but I'm super excited to see you all here. Thank you, Jamie. So overall thoughts, I like to kick it off and see what you ladies thought of this book. I had a chance to finish it up on Monday, and it was a much needed relief after reading Medical Apartheid, which was such a heavy book. So I was so glad to have something that could just take my mind off of such a heavy subject. Anybody else drinking cocktails today? 3.5 star, Jamie? I wasn't sure what to expect. I am drinking rosé today. Because there was so much hype built around this book. I had so many expectations for this book. So I wasn't really sure what to come of it. I mean, I think I've told you guys I've had this book since June when I went to BookCon. That's when I first heard of it and first begged them to, hi Shoshana, to have the book, an ARC in my hand. So I knew at that point that this would be a book club pick forever ago. Yes, Medical Apartheid was so good. It took me 3 weeks. I did it via audio format, and it was a difficult read, to say the least. It was tough. Jessica, did you finish Medical Apartheid? I know you were reading. And if y'all see me going back and forth, it's because we're live Facebook and Instagram, so I'm going back and forth. Yes, definitely check out Such a Fun Age. I enjoyed it for many reasons. So, Essence Simone, something is wrong with Facebook Live. There's 8 people on here, so I don't know. Everybody else can see me. You guys can see me, right? On Facebook Live. I'm just making sure everything is okay. But anywho, the characters I think going into this book, all I knew was that the babysitter would be stopped in a store and accused of kidnapping a child. So that's kind of all I knew about the book. So I didn't know anything else that was going to... Oh, you can't comment on your end. That's what's wrong with Facebook. Okay. Everybody says, but Facebook Live is behind IG. Oh, okay. I see you fine on Facebook. Facebook is working fine. Okay, thank you. Mardi Gras got in the way. Yeah, it did. Ashley said, Rennie, why? That's what she calls me. Why are you on here looking all sexy? I'm sorry. I have to show out for my ladies. I can't come on here looking busted. Y'all wouldn't know that I was asleep about 30 minutes ago taking a nap because I'm that tired today. That's why I was running a couple minutes late. But anyways, yeah, a Medical Apartheid. Oh, sorry. Jessica's talking about Such a Fun Age with all of the characters. Yeah, I really didn't know where this story was going to go and how it followed each of the characters. It was weird. And I didn't know that the characters were going to intertwine the way that they did. It was almost like 3 different stories, 3 different characters that we really followed. And so I didn't know how their stories were going to connect in a sense or come full circle in a sense. Did anybody do this in audio format? Because it was really good listening to that, hearing Amira's voice and the way she spoke, Alex or Alex, whatever you want to call her. And then what was the child's name that she was nannying? I can't think of. Briar? Is that right? But listening to it, especially, I think the child's name is Briar. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, the way that she did all of those voices was amazing. Like, it so made the story. Yes, I enjoyed the audio. Would have never pronounced it as a leak. Yeah. Yes, Briar. Okay. Just making sure. Amira was special to me. I went to Temple University. I met my oldest daughter's father on Temple's campus. And my daughter is named Amira. Aww. I also call her Mira. Yeah, Briar was Mira. Yeah, it was so cute. I love the audio narration. Like, it was so awesome, especially Briar's voice was probably my favorite. And, you know, Amira was something. Like, she's a little sassy one. But I don't even know where to begin with this story because there's just so much that happened. The narrator did an awesome job with Briar. I had a face in my head of how little Briar looked. Yes. Jamie said, "Oh, may have appreciated the audio more." It was really good. I love the audio. Yeah, I just, the voices were pretty awesome. So it was interesting it's so funny to call her Alix's background, to kind of discover more about her and kind of go back in time. Like, first we kind of figure out who she is, how she became to be, you know, this letter guru, that people seek for advice and trainings and workshops and stuff to learn how to write these letters and get into colleges and different things. And so it was kind of interesting to see, we learn more about her being famous first before we learn any of the background and history. And so I love the way that she was just talking with her friends, and we kind of learn about Kelly before we really put two and two together, that so Kelly is the guy who, let's kind of rewind to the beginning of the story. So okay, let's go back to Alix and her husband. They have some type of emergency because her husband said something on air and people thought he was a racist. So they ended up, someone like threw something at his window or broke his window or something like that. So they called Amira to kind of get Briar out of the house and just take her away from the madness that was happening at the house at the time. And so, I'm sorry, I'm going back to the comments. Okay. So we kind of see Amira take Briar to this grocery store. And as she's in the grocery store, you know, she wasn't prepared to babysit and she was leaving a birthday party. So she's kind of dressed in a skimpy dress, I believe it was. And so she has this white toddler. Amira's black, and she's in a grocery store, and this lady is following her, and she gets security and basically was like, "Hey, listen, I need you to check out this situation. This doesn't look like," basically being a racist asshole and saying this situation doesn't look right. Like, what's this black chick doing with this white kid? Like, did she steal her? Erica said, "I'll begin by saying Alix can catch these hands." She knew that guy didn't share the letter. So yeah, that's an interesting part that I'll circle back to. Essence said, "That was ridiculous. Even if the police are coming, you take a 3-year-old to the grocery store. I thought that was far-fetched." Yeah. It was like late at night. She's dressed in something that is just not part of her uniform. That's a big ordeal too. And so, of course, the security guard and this lady are like confronting her, and this white guy, Kelly, decides that he wants to tape the whole thing. So he ends up taping it World Star style. And that's their first interaction. And so they exchange emails after all of this went down. Eventually, Amira was able to call the dad, or her Alix's husband, I can't think of his name, and clear the situation. And he comes down to the store and verifies, this is our babysitter. She's fine, like, whatever. And then the white lady's just like, "Oh, well, I think you guys have got it handled here, so I'm out." Really? Like, I wanted to slap the shit out of her after she did that. Like, really, you stirred up all this trouble and now you just want to bounce. Like, you didn't just stir the pot and cause all of this trouble. But yes, Briar definitely could have stayed in the house, stayed in the room, could have went somewhere else where it was just not necessary. And first of all, it was late at night, so why is Briar even awake? Like, to me, Briar should have been asleep in the bedroom. I didn't understand that either. Yeah, she agreed. We agree with Cassie. Stay in the room. It's that simple. Like, I agree with that. So anyways, this whole situation goes down. Alix begins to feel bad about, because she feels like it's her fault. I sent you to the grocery store at this time of night, and this incident happened because I sent you there. So she starts to feel this guilt, and she weirdly has this obsession with Amira. Yeah, she pulled a Homer in the bushes. Yeah, the lady in the grocery store was just kind of like, I'm out. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm out. And so Alix begins to, sorry if this makes a loud noise. Alix begins to like feel this guilt. And so it kind of becomes her mission to like become best friends with Amira and break Amira down. And she weirdly becomes obsessed with the fact that she just wants to be friends and win Amira over so that she can prove that she's not this, yes, there's someone said single white female. Yeah. It was really weird, her obsession with her. It's what Jamie said. Very weird obsession. Erica said the same thing. Yeah. And she just like wants to break her down and become like BFFs with her babysitter, which I felt was so very weird. And so we just watch how obsessive she gets. And for me, what was like the snapping point for me was like, you're tracking her text messages and her emails. So you're seeing these conversations that she's having with, at the time, we don't know, but, gosh, what's his name? With Kelly. And so she doesn't have Kelly labeled in her phone as Kelly. She just has him as, I can't even remember what the nickname was that she had for him, but she had him labeled as something else. Yeah, everybody's saying Alex is a single white female. And then to point that out in Kelly, she had her own black girl fetish. Yes, she literally does. She did. She was trying to blame Kelly for what he did and how he acted. Keenan and Kel. Yeah, that was the nickname. Googling the lyrics to Amira's favorite song. So she would she totally hacked her phone in the sense of figuring out what music she's listening to, the emails that she got, her text messages to her girlfriends, figuring out where she's going. And this stalking on her phone would prompt her to eventually just start using it as ammo to kind of engage with Amira and become friends with her and kind of break her down. Like, what are your plans tonight? Where are you going? Because she wanted to know more about the text messages and things that she was receiving. And so, yeah, Keenan and Kel. Oh no, I haven't read that yet, and I have to go. Yeah, please. Look at the caption. We are reading we are discussing Such a Fun Age, our February book of the month. So if y'all haven't read it, now is the best time to go before any spoilers. Yeah, it was just a weird obsession with the whole Amira thing. And then so we kind of get to see Kelly. They accidentally run into each other on the train. And they kind of hit it off. And what does he do? She's on her way out with her girlfriends, I think. And he ends up meeting her at this bar or wherever they're at. And they kind of just start this relationship with one another. And Amir's happy. And Alix is still trying to figure out who this person is that she's dating. So we continue on. Kelly and Amira are basically having the time of their lives. They're falling for each other. They're getting close with one another. And then fast forward in the book, Amira, they decide that they are going to hang together for Thanksgiving. And so, Alix, being who she is and wanting to kind of invite her in and get closer to her, has this idea of let's be one big happy family and why don't y'all come and spend Thanksgiving, and of course you can bring your boyfriend over, like why not? So let me circle back too. Let's circle back to before I get into the whole Thanksgiving and what happens. I do want to talk about, yeah, I love how Amir didn't bother to learn how to pronounce Alik's. Yeah, she was just like, that's Mrs. Chamberlain or whatever her last name is. I can't even remember. But what was I gonna say? So I like how they, in the story, we see Alik's sitting with her best friend and just kind of, they're all telling these most embarrassing moments and most embarrassing stories to one another. And so Alix decides to spill her most embarrassing moment in high school and how she became to be known as this like racist. And so she spills this story about how she dated this guy in high school, and basically her family came into some money. I can't even remember how that happened, but her family came into some money, bought this land and this house, and basically she had this come up. So she just became an overnight rich girl, and they had a maid, which was clearly known as a black woman that worked for her family. And so all in all, she's dating this guy, Kelly. She decides that she wants to lose her virginity to him. So she invites, her parents are out of town or something like that. She invites him over. Family was wrongly cremated. Yeah, that too. So she decides she wants to lose her virginity to Kelly. He ends up coming over. But then these guys figure out that her parents are gone for the weekend and they kind of want to crash her house. And they get a hold of this note of her basically saying, I want to lose my virginity to you. And, the lawsuit against the funeral home. Right. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Hey, for everyone that's jumping on here. Yes, thank you for that, for wrongly being cremated. That's how they came into their money. And so these guys find this note, and she was like, did you show them my note? Like, how did they know, that we're going to be at the house this weekend? Like, how did they know all this? How did they? So anyways, they end up crashing her house. They're at the pool, acting a fool. Well, the Kelly's friends that come over are black. Obviously, Kelly is white. And so while he's like sleeping with her, she's watching what's going on in her pool out of the window and is like, I'm about to call the cops. These guys are, crashing my house, ruining my house. They need to go. So instead of just like being considerate of these people's lives and their careers or whatever, like, it's one thing if you go downstairs and say, hey, like, I need you guys to leave. I don't want to get you in trouble, but please just like leave and go home. She didn't even give them that opportunity. Like, she went from 0 to 100. Like, I'm calling the cops. There's no warning. And also what pissed me off though, Kelly, you knew she was about to call the cops, right? Why wouldn't you run outside and tell them? The cops aren't getting there that fast. Why wouldn't Kelly just go downstairs and say to his homies, like, bro, she's calling the cops. Like, y'all need to get the hell up out of here. I think that really rubbed me the wrong way because I felt like, yeah, she said that she had to protect her black housekeeper. So that's another thing, too, that bothers me about Alix is that she thinks that she's, like, this protector of black people. So she did it with her maid, which is why she called the cops, like. And then she did it again with Amira with this whole security grocery store incident. So, yeah, I was really kind of bothered by Kelly because I'm like, why didn't you look out for the homies? For me, if my homies and good friends are sitting outside and I know that she's calling the cops and I'm sitting there watching her do it, I'm running outside and saying, yo, she's calling the cops. Get the hell up out of here. I was lost with that. What did that have to do with her housekeeper? Absolutely nothing. It was an excuse for her to not seem like a racist. I guess she was trying to, because she called the cops on a bunch of, this is my take on it, that she called the cops on a bunch of black kids, and she was trying to see like she wasn't racist and that she was trying to protect a black person from black people. But yeah, it really, I think it was just kind of a scapegoat for her reasoning of calling the kids. So she ends up, they weren't friends with Kelly until after he gave them a ride after the cops came, right? They were more so like acquaintances, right? But I still would have gone outside and said something to them. I can't recall what time frame, but now calling the cops on our young black boys can be considered attempted murder, nothing to take lightly. I totally agree. And you're right, like back when she did it, it wasn't as serious as a matter as it is today. But definitely, like, that was crazy to me. If anything, she should have asked the black maid to go so it wouldn't look like she was being the party pooper. Yeah, she could have went home. I mean, you know. Or simply, like, just walk outside the door and say, like, if you really did not want them there, just walk outside and say that. Maid, I got you. For me, it was that simple. Like, walk outside the door and say, hey, like, y'all gotta go or I'm calling the cops. That would be all the warning I need from anybody. And I'm getting my ass up out of there. Simple as that. Like, that's just what it is. I'm gone. You only have to tell me one time that you're threatening to call the cops or whatever. I'm out. So anyways, that kid ends up getting arrested. I think he had a volleyball scholarship, and that ends up getting taken away because, you know, but it essentially ruined his life. He had this volleyball scholarship that, you know, he was going to school for, and that got taken away because he now has a record for being arrested for breaking into someone's house. I think she didn't want Kelly to be distracted. She wanted to be up under him all night. Yep, that's a very good point. It's almost like she became obsessive and she was in love with Kelly and she wanted him all to herself. So she was like, these kids are distracting Kelly from what we've got going on here. So let me go ahead and call the cops and call it a day. Yeah. Alex just rubbed me the wrong way. Question for y'all. Did they ever say why she changed her name? Was it because basically after this happened, she got made fun of a lot. She got bullied, if you want to say. A lot of people looked at her as this rich bitch that, you know, is racist and has something against black people because she sent a black kid to jail and ruined his career and whatnot. And so I'm trying to figure out if that's the reason why, I don't recall them saying that in the book, why she changed her name. But I don't know. In Alix's head, she also felt like calling the cops saved the black housekeeper, so she could have prevented her from having to risk her job. Because of what happened in high school, she wanted to start over and leave everything behind. And that was my assumption, was that she changed her name because she wanted to be, she tried to reinvent herself after that. The very last chapter, they said the spelling was Alix, so maybe she was trying for a fresh start. Yep. What was her? It was Alex. Her name was Alex, and then she just changed it to Alix. Alix. That's what I'm lost about. How does the kids in the pool affect the housekeeper at all? Like, no offense, but for anybody to take this the wrong way, but I've not ever been scared of my own people. So I wouldn't never need you to call the cops. Unless someone has, like, a gun to my head and I'm really, like, threatened or someone's about to hurt me. Like, I've just never been scared of my own people for you to, like, need to call the cops. You know, if I feel threatened, then I'm going to do so. But these kids are just messing around your pool. That was it. Yeah, she reinvented herself. It was calculated. So, yeah. Anyways, all that to say, so she did reinvent herself, ended up moving away to kind of start her career, and it eventually took off. And so here we are with this sitter, and she's kind of going through the same obsession with Amira, as a black employee, her parents would blame the housekeeper. That's true. That is a very good point. You know how that goes, right? Typical salty tears. Yep. I have a question. This author is black, but halfway through, I felt like I was reading a book by a white person. It just seemed a bit off for me. Can anybody speak to that? I don't even know if Kiley Reid. Yeah. Kiley Reid's from Philadelphia too. Which makes a lot of sense why there's a lot of references in there, Erica. She wasn't thinking about that. Yeah. She's just selfish. Everything she does is selfish. Like, she's a horrible mother. I'm not a fan of Alix at all. She just came across as very self-centered, very, entitled, is the word I want to use. And I was just over her. Someone's asking what parts exactly. So, Essence, if you can describe the parts where you're reading where it sounded a little bit more white, maybe you can type that in and let us know what you're thinking. Kimberly, you have the same thoughts too, so maybe you guys can explain what parts you felt like you were reading a book by a white person. Do we know, is Kiley Reid fully black or is she mixed? Because maybe she might have ties to both sides and perspectives from both sides. Maybe she grew up. Y'all gonna make me get my iPad out so I can look this up. Because that would be something to think about. Because if maybe she's telling the stories from two perspectives. Sorry, I'm just trying to look this up. And her child felt it. That was what made me disgusted with her. Yeah, like Briar was so attached to Amira because she wasn't getting that time, that attention and love from Alix. Sorry, I'm trying to find this and figure out. A black person would never think a white person who only hung around black people had a fetish. That's true. That is seriously the first time I've heard of that. Yeah, I never would have thought of that either until it was mentioned. Alix definitely had white savior syndrome. She really thought she was helping when it was only helping herself. Absolutely. Pure selfishness on her part. But it's almost like she would do these things, yeah, exactly, to become a savior or take these opportunities to make herself seem like this holy savior. Yeah, she drove me batshit crazy. So anyways, long story short, Alix has this history with Kelly. He ends up basically taking her virginity, and then he saves the guys, like he said, from, picks them up or whatever from jail, and becomes like this cool guy now. He's becoming one of the in crowd, and becomes popular because of this whole incident. So he's kind of like Alex at the time. I can't be around you. I can't deal with you. Like, we got to break up. It's over. Let's see. Hang on. Let me go back to these comments. Okay. Jamie said, and the end, when you find out she knew about the note and just chose to live a lie, done with her. Yes. So we're thinking this whole time that she's accusing Kelly of leaking this note, this private note that she wrote to him in high school about wanting to lose her virginity and coming over to the house, and that her parents wouldn't be there, thinking that he leaked it to his black friends so that they could come over and crash. But in the end of the story, we learn that Kelly's locker is actually above. Excuse me, what's the kid's name? Is it Robert or something? But the notes actually fell through the crack. And how in the hell did she even get in that locker too? That was another disturbing thing. Like, I feel like she's just doing too much. And did you all notice how her black friend appeared to be the one who most encouraged her out of the clique of friends? Rodney. Okay, Rodney. Thank you. Scammer. Oh, let's see. Jessica said she reminded me of the mother in The Help, Mae Mobley's mother. The one, Aibileen Viola Davis, worked for her, Scammer is what Erica said. She lied for so long that she actually started to believe it. She was cleaning the school for a service project. Thank you. I have such a bad memory, y'all. I could just finish this book 2 days ago and my mind's already into something else. I didn't like her black friend. Yeah. That's right. Okay, so she was cleaning the school for a service project. So she ended up like cleaning Kelly's locker and Rodney's locker and found out that the notes kind of seeped from Kelly's. Like, all of the notes were there, but they seeped in through this crack into Rodney's locker. So he really did not give these letters up and expose Alex. Everybody's saying Alex's black friend was annoying. Yeah, I agree. Her black friend Tamara was a piece of work. She certainly was. Yep. Yeah, so with her 2 fingernails and rag underneath, Alex bent farther on her knees and fingered the roof inside the locker, preparing herself for something foul to pop out, like a forgotten sandwich bag or the hardened wings of something dead. But after one final swipe of what she thought was possibly a dirty magazine hidden here for safekeeping, Alex gasped to see a flash of her own handwriting on folded loose leaf paper fall out onto the ground in front of her knees. From the slot of space in between Kelly's locker and the locker beneath it were 5 of her letters. They were grimy and bent and yellow, but even worse, they were still unopened and sealed with her cursive on the front, reading from AM. Alex gasped. She turned over her shoulder to find she was thankfully still alone, rapidly picked up her unopened letters and stuffed them between her breast and her bra. She quickly wiped the locker down and slammed it shut, which was when she saw another set of initials engraved into the rusty metal. In the top corner of the locker door, Alex saw an R and a C. Just below Kelly's locker was Robbie Cormier's. Yeah. For weeks, Alex had been thinking of Kelly and mostly just wondering, how could he do this? As it happened all the time, he actually hadn't. She's a piece of work. That's all I can say about that. Yeah, I loved how she never realized that Kelly wasn't getting the notes. Yeah. And that was revealed to us. And so she tells the story to her friends, and then invites, so we flash back to present day. I think Tamara felt like she was written by a white person trying to make a black girl more refined than the others. She was a different type of crazy. She definitely was. She was 18 years old. How does she still keep that up 15 years later? She needs therapy. Oh, my fault, Robbie. That's okay. I was confused. Wait, I love how she never realized Kelly wasn't getting notes. Okay. I was confused by Amira wanting Zara to cause a scene. Was that just to bring ultimate embarrassment? I felt like Amir's rejection and exit were enough. Yeah, I think so too. I don't think that they needed to take that extra step to like go above and beyond. But she found out this way back when and kept up the lie that Kelly got the note, right? Which was disturbing to me because she continued to like, she wanted to retaliate. She felt stupid. She really just felt embarrassed and stupid, and wanted to retaliate. Even though she knew the truth, she still wanted to retaliate against Kelly. And so she kept up this lie and wanted to tell Amira what a horrible person he was and what he did to her. Oh, that's okay, Jamie. She said, sorry, Kindle. It was downstairs, no problem at all. But wanted to keep up this lie of, why Kelly's such a bad person and how he's obsessed with black people, and it was just a piece of work. But to be a fly on the wall when Amira showed up at Thanksgiving dinner with her boyfriend at the door, and Alex opens that door, and lo and behold, there's Kelly, at the door, like this guy that you've resented for so many years and held a grudge for no reason, basically, for all these years. I felt the only extra step needed was to just say, I know you leaked the video. And I really wanted her to call out Alex on that, because they went through all that trouble to kind of figure out who leaked the video, how, what was going on, and they finally narrowed it down, and it was like, why didn't you speak up on it? I didn't get Azara causing a scene was necessary. I thought Zara was going to say that she knew Alex released the video. No one really confronted Alex. I know. I was sad about that. I really wanted them to call her out on her stuff. Like, she deserved every bit of that. Okay, let's see. But even before she knew he was around, she repeated the lie to her friends. Exactly. She had this whole story built up in her head of this horrible guy that he was. Yeah, disappointing. I really wanted them to call her out on national TV and about this letter. The video, leaking the video. And it's like, why would you, again, she's trying to play hero, and she's hoping that by releasing this video, she's going to save Amira, and, again, Amira's gonna, run to her. I think it was awesome, though, that she kind of lined up that job and was like, yeah, no, I'm not working for you anymore. You're a piece of shit, is basically, which I felt bad because she really was more like a mom to Briar. So I really, in a sense, felt bad for Briar. But yeah, she basically told Alex to eat shit. I think Amira would not have said anything if Zara didn't make her. Amira seemed very unfazed by everything. She's very nonchalant, just kind of whatever, attitude about so much. Yeah, I don't know, but I really wanted her to call her out on that video, this is what you did, kind of thing. So, yeah, it was all very interesting. And then for Alex to show up at Kelly's job, you're really obsessive. First of all, he's like, how did you even find out where I worked? How did you get here? And she goes all the way up to his job and is basically sitting outside stalking him. To be able to confront him about this. The chick is batshit crazy. And I really wondered what other things that we don't know about, with her husband and stuff that does she do that we haven't seen yet. Cassie said weirdo. On the flip side, Amira should have formally apologized to Kelly after that fact. I agree. Once she found out the truth, because once they figured out that he didn't release the video, because he got a lot of shit. And he really was just trying to be a good dude by dating her. And it was Alex put all this shit in her head. And then the whole video thing, her friends, just assuming that it was Kelly. Erica said Alex is cuckoo. Yeah, she's fucking cuckoo for... Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I have to remember these videos go on YouTube and stuff after that. I didn't mean to drop the F-bomb. Sorry. But yeah, she is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I don't know. It was a very interesting read. I enjoyed it. I think it definitely kept me on my toes, especially once I figured out it wasn't said that Amira's Kelly was the same Kelly that Alex was talking about. But once I kind of put that in my head and was like, wait a minute, this is really happening, and connected that piece, it was oh shit. And so I got more invested in Alex and her stalking tactics. How is she gonna I was trying to figure out how this was gonna come full circle and she was gonna find out that Kelly was indeed Amir's boyfriend. Jessica, don't laugh at me because I'm dropping F-bombs over here. Yeah, I cuss. Alix needs therapy. Going to Kelly's job about something that happened at age 18 is crazy. I can understand if he raped her or something traumatic, but he had just broke up with her. Right. So it's like, what are we really doing? She was a hot mess. I can't with her. But I enjoyed it. Overall thoughts? What did you guys rate it? Curious. I hate when people make drastic decisions. Amir breaks up with Kelly without a full explanation or conversation. I agree with that. I think just us as human beings, we often jump to conclusions. I know me as a woman, I often jump to conclusions, and that's something that I've been working on. Patience and being understanding, and yeah, it's been a lot of work. I lack patience, and I want results and stuff to happen instantly. Like I'm so used to doing stuff for myself. So relying on other people or not getting from other people what I want when I want it, it's like you end up jumping to conclusions, and then you might fire off some stuff that you probably should have held out saying, and then it's like, oh shit. I gave it 5 stars. Any book that makes me gasp, hoop, and or holler gets a 5 from me. Yeah, I gave it 5 stars too. What about the rest of you guys? Or you ladies? Isn't this cup cute? It says rosé all day. My coworker had a party, and she gave out little gifts. She had a mimosa party, and then she gave us all little glasses and mimosas to take home, all of the windows. And this was my cup. They were all different, but I got the rosé all day. 3 stars, 5 stars. I would rate it 3.5. It kept me interested, but not enough to reread. Oh, that's an interesting tactic, Nadia. So for something to be a 5-star for you, you would have to reread it? I've never looked at it that way, but that is an interesting perspective. However, I'm so busy and I receive so many books on a weekly basis that I oftentimes don't have time to reread something else. But I am glad that Goodreads now counts rereads towards your book count, so I don't feel, if I want to reread something, I'll do it. But before, there was a time where they didn't do that, and so I wouldn't really go back and touch books, regardless of ratings. Topeka said, I gave it 4 stars. I only gave it 3. Too often, I was saying, I cannot believe this is written by a Black person. Nadia said yes. That's cool. I think that's cool if you rated a 5-star that, it's something that you would reread again. It's a good point. I understand. I wouldn't read it again. Yeah. There's not too many books that I would honestly, there's books that I absolutely love, but I also like the thought of reading something new. So it's hard for me to go back. And I will say this, for me, there's been some books that I've rated 5-star. I'll say one. Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. I read at a time that I needed to read it. It was a perfect read for me. Gave it a 5-star. I think I reread it in 2018. It was so slow for me, and I couldn't get through it. And it was just it was almost painful to reread it and truck along through that book. So even though I rated it a 5-star the first time, I couldn't get through it. It was extremely painful. I wouldn't read it again, but it would recommend it to others. Yeah, I think this one for me is a one-time read. It was fascinating. I like these kind of books that keep you on your toes like that. I gave it 3.5. It was good. Now I'm interested on y'all's scales, and how you rate stuff. What is an absolute 5-star for you guys? But I do like Nadia's point on how she rates her book. Allegedly was a 5-star, but you can only read it once. It depends, I think. I agree with that. Allegedly was extremely good. Another one that keeps you on your toes and is mysterious and you don't know what's going to happen, and it's probably one that I would only rate read one time. You're right. I don't think it would have that same effect or that same wow factor for me a second time. Wow, but it has a lot to do with where you are in your life. Me being around a mixed community all my life, it just didn't feel authentic to me. Yeah, definitely that makes a difference. Where you are in your life. I think timing of how and when you read stuff also makes a difference. Coming off of a medical apartheid and then reading this, like, that was a refresher for me. So it was a much needed escape from a very heavy reality. So the timing, and I think, like, for me, and I hate to say this because I know it's such a classic, but Zora Neale Hurston's Their Eyes Are Watching God, like, everybody raves about that book and how wonderful it is. And I had just come off of reading something that was absolutely mind-blowing and incredible, and I read it and I was just kind of like, nah, it's mediocre. Like, I don't get why everybody is all about this book. Like, and they're all about Janie and TK, I think was his name. And I'm like, Houseway, like, he abused the hell out of her, and y'all are, like, idolizing this couple. I didn't understand. Anyways, that's another story for another day, but that's just an example of something that the timing of me, I'm going to reread it again, but the timing of when I read it was awful. Jamie said, right, I wouldn't change anything in a 5-star book. That's a good point, too. Like changing the writing, or was it written to perfection? All right, let me see what Erica said. Erica said, sometimes I feel like I'm in a reading slump. I'll go back and read something I know I'll love. I have some books that I've read 4 to 5 times. See, with me, like, Jasmine Guillory's probably one that I could definitely reread over and over and over again, but I haven't done it yet. I haven't done a second read. Like The Wedding Date or The Wedding Party, I probably could read again and enjoy it, but you guys have to understand, like, the rate that I get books at. I know I sound a little bit like a spoiled brat, but I literally get, like, 2 to 4 books a week coming to my house. So I have constant new stuff that just keeps, like, stacking, and stuff that I want to read. So it just keeps stacking up at my house. And so I feel this kind of pressure to, like, get through some stuff. So it's hard for me to go back and reread something when I have so much in front of me that needs to be read. If that makes sense? That was me with The Bluest Eye. First time, didn't get it reread and gave it a 5-star. Okay. I think timing is everything, and the mood you're in at the time when you read the book. Yeah, I totally agree. Wow, that's awesome. You have Christmas every week. Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, I think I got a book today. Yeah, but it's constant stuff coming to my house. It's ridiculous. I'm a mood reader, so if I'm not in the mood, I have to take a break and come back. Yeah, like, I was trying to read self-help, but I'm just, especially after medical apartheid, and trying to read Iyanla Van Zant's book called Trust. I was trying to read it as a self-help, and I got maybe about 20% done, and I couldn't do it. After medical apartheid last month, it was draining. I couldn't take another self-help book. Erica said, I'll definitely read Allegedly again. I want to read Let Me Hear a Rhyme. Tiffany actually sent that. She asked me for my address and had that mailed. So that's the only book of hers that I haven't read that I'm going to read at some point, maybe this summer. And then her newest book, have y'all seen that? I can't think of the name of it. She just posted it again today, but the cover is amazing. But it's basically like on some R. Kelly type stuff, where it's written about these girls who were taken advantage of by these older men, and so that is going to be a book club read. So I can't remember the date of when it comes out. I have it in my phone somewhere, which I'm using right now to go live, but that is definitely going to be one of our book club reads later this year. Essence said, I can't do Iyanla either. I have read Allegedly. I enjoyed Monday's Not Coming. That was good too. I love her books. Who are you talking about, Jamie? Iyanla? A 5-star book has to be one that I just absolutely can't put down. I'll stay up to the wee hours of the morning reading it. Yep, that makes sense. I live in Durham, Chapel Hill area, and I know women like Alice. Good point. it does depend on the time you're reading, what's happening, and what book you just read. Yeah, for me, like, honestly, like, Their Eyes Are Watching God wasn't wasn't a horrible book for me, but I had literally just come off of something that, like, now I want to go back to my Goodreads and see what it was, because I had just come off of reading something that was amazing and I absolutely loved. And then, see, y'all are going to make me go through my Goodreads and find my challenges. And then I read that and it was like I just couldn't understand the hype. Hey, Dawn. I have lots of new books to read, but they don't always fit my current vibe. That's it. Like, that's totally, I mean, I have some of it, and I get a lot of nonfiction books sent to me, like some serious stuff, and a lot of times I'm not in the mood for serious stuff. Like February, I usually hone down and try to read something that is difficult. So Medical Apartheid was that for me in February, but there's so many books that I have nonfiction but I just I don't know, I go back and forth. I like fiction and nonfiction, but a lot of times I need that escape. The Pisces in me needs to, like, dream. Tiffany, oh yes, I love her books as well. See, y'all are gonna make me pull up my challenges. Reading challenge, past challenges. Now I want to see what I read. I think this is 2018. 2018 was kind of a crazy reading year. Oh. I reread the good parts in romance novels when other books bore me. Never thought of that about that, like just reading certain parts of the book and not necessarily. Yes, Tiffany Jackson's book is called Grown. Yes. So that whenever it comes out, I've got to go find the date for that. But whenever it comes out, I've already got that on the list as something for us to read this year, because I feel like it's such an important topic to just discuss, and I'm sure many can relate to it. So I think it'll be a great book for us to read as a book club. Yes, the cover is dope. I'm excited for that book to come out. I'm not sure if this is written in order, but I think I read The Wedding Date. I also read The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson, which is about the epic story of America's Great Migration. And then I read Their Eyes Are Watching God. So I don't know. The Wedding Date is where I fell in love with Jasmine Guillory. So if I came off of that and then read that love story and then read Their Eyes Are Watching God and sat there on social media and watched so many people idolize. Like, whenever people say what's your favorite couple from a fiction novel, I just never understood why they picked Tea Cake and can't think of her name right now. But I'd never understand why people can pick that. I'm like, y'all do know that he abused her, right? So while you're sitting here saying that, yeah, I gave it 3 stars. Look, I'm looking at my review right now. Janie and Tea Cake. For the life of me, I couldn't understand why people continuously put that as one of their favorite couples from a fiction novel. I don't understand that. Let's see. I read a lot of Black romance novels. Yep, you got me on some too. I have to break it up and read something more gritty here and there. Yeah, cleanse my palate. I know, I totally get that. And while I hoped I was on a good run with reading self-help, it's now March and I'm over it. So, y'all know I have that mason jar full of book names and things like that. So I might have to revise that and take out some of the self-help because I'm really just not feeling it right now. And so Ayanla's book, Trust, was one of the books that I drew from the jar. And I just couldn't get with it. It wasn't horrible, but it's just, after reading, like I said, Medical Apartheid, and I'm just not in a place to really receive the messaging. I think I need some more, I don't know, I just need something else. And then we have our Jamaica book retreat that we're going on in April, next month. So I have some assigned readings for that. So I'm reading Thick by Tressie McMillan Cotton. I'm reading August Town by Kai Miller. I'll be reading, I'm going on vacation on the 15th of this month, so I'll be reading, I like to read romance novels when I'm on vacation, so I'll be reading The Right Swipe by Alicia Ray. And then, of course, if you guys did not know, our March book of the month is Sula by Toni Morrison. So that'll be my second Toni Morrison read, and I'm super excited to read that one. I have never read any Black self-help. Please suggest. Okay. I'll inbox you with a list of what I have when we're done. If not today, tomorrow. But let me think on that, because I've got a few that I've read. I need to just go through my list. I agree with you. The self-help is too blah sometimes, but inspirational. And I think for me, it's the time of year, like the new year, when I kick off the new year, like I'm all about self-help and motivation and reading The Secret, or just reading stuff that is going to kick off my new year. But I need to learn, like, I am a very seasonal reader. So like Black History Month, I always try to read something hardcore, by a Black person, about Black people, whatever. I always try to like tackle. I think last year I read The New Jim Crow. This year it was Medical Apartheid. January I try to read inspirational books. March and April I really don't have anything, but as I get closer to the summer, my reads become lighter. Like, all I want to read is romance novels, stuff that I can sit by the beach and enjoy and just really like take in the warm weather. And so I'm a very seasonal reader. It's weird. And then towards the fall, like, I like to read more mysteries and suspenseful novels. Like, Allegedly would be a good one for me to read in the fall, which I did. And then, yeah, I don't know. I'm just weird like that. Can you put it in the Facebook group, please? Yeah, sure. I will definitely do that. And actually, I need to get with my best friend, Kim. She was actually supposed to write a blog post for me because she's like the self-help person when I go to for recommendations and books. She is very good at that. So I'm going to follow up with her, because I was actually going to get her to write a blog post that I had hoped to post in February, but I honestly forgot all about it. So I'm going to ask her for her recommendations to see, because she'll be a good person that can recommend. That's all she really reads is self-help books. So I'll ask. Ew, time is getting ready to wrap up, and I know that, Instagram likes to cut me off and give me my counter, so I'm so glad to be able to chat with you ladies tonight. I'll get those book recommendations to you. If you guys on Instagram have not joined our Facebook group, please go over. The link is in my bio, but we have a private Facebook group where we just literally cut up all day, every day, yeah, it's fun over there. So if you want to interact with us more on the day-to-day and kind of cut up, then that's the place to go. Again, link is in the bio. I never thought of reading as seasonal, but you're right. I might have been and didn't know. Yeah, now that I think about it, like I do read certain types of books at certain times of years, and it seems to work. So I'm going to stop pushing myself to read self-help and motivational books, and I tend to either do that at the beginning of the year or the end of the year. And I have 1 minute and 30 seconds. So thank you all, lovelies, for joining me tonight. I'm excited about this book. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I think we had a great discussion tonight. And I will talk to you later. Bye. You guys have a good night too. Thanks. Bye.